Good afternoon. I'm Wayne Potter from Giotto, and Jimmy Lamb has joined us here. And we want to go through some of the new exciting features of the new Virtuoso system, specifically CreativeStudio, which should be very, very helpful to all of you folks that are not artists, but who want to make a buck with sublimation. Jimmy?
Hey, I agree 100% because one thing I am not is an artist. But anyway, CreativeStudio kind of sort of makes me almost creative, so that's a little scary. But yeah, it is a pretty neat program, and we're going to talk about CreativeStudio. I'm going to show you how it works, do a couple of demos on it for you. But first I want to do is really explain how CreativeStudio is part of a new sublimation platform that's called Virtuoso. Okay, so it's actually part of a package. And so let me just kind of run you through that real quick so you understand how all the pieces work together, and then we'll go play in CreativeStudio. So CreativeStudio, as I was saying, it's an online designer. That's a key part. You're going to hear that over and over again. It's an online designer for sublimation graphics. And it's very innovative. It was built specifically for sublimation by Sawgrass. And the idea was to make it easy for you to be able to create things, because I know a lot of times starting out, you look at something like Corel, Photoshop, Illustrator, great programs, but they can be overwhelming. In fact, we find that the average person doesn't understand how to use probably more than 20% of the overall capabilities of that one of those programs, because you typically learn what you need to do to get the job done, and then you don't go any further until you're forced into doing it. So we want to kind of get the overwhelming nature out of the way, and that's where the CreativeStudio portion came into play. Now, as I said, it's part of a whole program called Virtuoso. And Virtuoso is actually a fully integrated HD product decorating system, HD high-def product decorating system. We have stepped this up above previous printer platforms. It has three components. The first is the Virtuoso inkjet printers. It's two models, SG400, SG800. The second is the SublimJet HD sublimation inks, okay, and they were created especially and only for those two printers. And the final part is the CreativeStudio, which will be our main focus as we go through. Now, just looking a little bit closer, the Virtuoso SG400 and SG800 are the only desktop printers built for digital decorating. We did this in conjunction with Ricoh. Okay, so we partnered up with Ricoh. We knew it was a good printer platform, but we wanted to have some input in the design such that we were creating the printer for sublimation instead of adapting sublimation to a printer, is what we've always done before. These look pretty much like your Ricoh 3110 and 7100, but they are the next generation. For example, you can get 1200 by 1200 DPI out of these printers. You can't do that with the existing Ricohs. Nothing wrong with those Ricohs, by the way. 3110, 7100, we have not discontinued ink for those. We've not discontinued support at all. So if you have one of those printers, don't feel like suddenly you got left behind or something. You didn't. Great printers. They can do what you want. Let me tell you what, they do 600 by 600 DPI max, and you can do some fantastic prints with that. But to really get into high quality HD photo reproduction, 1200 by 1200 will make a difference. Okay, so that's the maximum you get out. Of course, that slows the printer down. So most of you are probably not going to print at 1200 by 1200, but it's nice to know you have that option there when you need it. They are faster than the previous Ricoh models, and they are a little bit lower in ink cost as well when we talk about cost per square inch. The SublimJet HD ink we engineered specifically for these. That was the beauty of being able to build these things in conjunction with Ricoh, because we were able to engineer the ink and engineer the printer together at the same time. Now, SublimJet HD is a new generation ink. It came in based on SublimJet R. Still make SublimJet R, still a great ink. If you can see down here on your screen, here's a comparison, the same image done with SublimJet R on the left, SublimJet HD on the right. Even over the internet, you can see that the colors are a little brighter on the right-hand side. Okay, so there is a difference with that particular ink. It's also given us an expanded gamut, which means a wider range of colors, and that in turn gives us more vibrancy and more accuracy with our colors. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes in how we put together the inks and, of course, the printers. And then finally, we have the designer, and the designer is CreativeStudio. So you're able to create sublimation designs using an intuitive workspace that was built for sublimation. It also includes a powerful stock design library. Okay, that's important. You already have graphics waiting for you to use when you go into CreativeStudio for the first time. Now, the way this system works is CreativeStudio itself resides online. So the designer portion is online. That means you can access it from anywhere. You can log in really from anywhere and access your designer. You can do it with a tablet. You can do it with a computer. Okay, you can do it with a phone if you want, but it's kind of hard to get your finger on the screen on a phone and actually do some, setup for jobs, but technically you could do it. Okay, so you create your graphics online and then you send them to a Virtuoso printer. Now, the only piece of software that you actually install is a color management and printer driver. Okay, that installs on your system. It's actually an app. It's the CreativeStudio Print and Color Manager app. You will install that on the computer that will feed your printer, but CreativeStudio itself resides online. So CreativeStudio, what's it do? What's it composed of? It's composed of all kinds of stuff. It's really an integrated graphics system, and it was created from scratch, from the ground up for sublimation. Again, this wasn't an adaptation. This is a creation from scratch. It has 5 key components. It has the designer. It has a stock design library. It has product templates, it has art templates, and it has a print and color manager. Looking a little bit closer, the designer is where you do your work. Now, if you look at that screen there, that's a screenshot off of the CreativeStudio screen. You'll see that there's not a tremendous amount of icons and things all over the place like you see with some of the other graphics programs. Okay, so at the end of the day, the beauty of all that is that there's a lot of simplicity, okay? Very simplistic. Well, I shouldn't say simplistic, but simpler, okay? A little bit less going on there. It gives you easy access for multiple devices. That's pretty cool because of the fact that it's online, you can get to it with multiple devices. It works for PC, Mac, iOS, Android, and I have a Windows tablet and a Windows phone. It works with those too. Very intuitive tools and functions built for sublimation. It accommodates multiple media sizes, whatever it is that you have in your printer. We talk about media size, we're talking about papers. And it's very product centric. Every time you start a new project, it starts with a product and then it goes from there. Now, by the way, this is not designed for you to create graphics from scratch. Okay, if you're really doing a lot of intense graphic work, you're trying to make some really sophisticated lettering, things like that, then you're probably better off with a CorelDRAW or Photoshop or Illustrator. Okay, this is designed for you to be able to merge together images and text and create layouts and then apply them to specific products for sublimation. Okay, so it's really designed for that. If you need to create graphics from scratch, you would be using a different program. Now, as I said, it includes a robust stock design library. We found that most people, when they go out and they get into sublimation, they're going to go out and buy a printer package from Jata. Then they're going to say, oh, you know what? I'm going to have to buy a graphic software. So they go out and buy CorelDRAW or Photoshop. It depends on what you're going to do and which one you buy. And then they realize they don't have any stock designs, and they got to go out and find images too. So we went ahead and included thousands of design elements already at no charge. This is part of the system. It includes graphics and photo images. It has monograms. It has shapes and backgrounds and borders. All kinds of different categories like sports and occupations and cultural and travel, etc. It has just an extensive amount of things to get you going. And if you wish, you can always upload your own designs. Okay, so we do have a function that you can upload your own designs too. So you can build and make your stock design library even larger than what came with CreativeStudio. Now, the product templates are very important. If you're already doing sublimation, you understand that product templates help you set your artwork up for printing and pressing. Specifically, if you look at the products that Unisub makes, you can download files for those products that have bleeds in them. And you can see an example of that on your screen right now. You can see that's one of the, that's a Megaphone luggage tag, and you can see the white area is the printed area, and the gray area is the bleed area, okay, that we normally make our image out into the bleed. make it slightly larger, so it makes it easier to line things up. So as I said, the templates include the bleeds. If there are color choices, it's included, because part of this is designed that you could sit in front of a customer, and we usually say don't ever do that when you're designing, right? But in this case, you could sit in front of a customer and put something together. So therefore, you'll find there are certain products like apparel, if they have different colors available, those are going to be listed. You will find that like some of the plaques, like the wooden plaques, some of them have a black wooden edge, some have like a burgundy wooden edge. If they have a color option, those are included, because the idea is to show the client the real product that you're going to be sublimating. And of course, the templates define the image shape and size, and actually they have controlling factors, as you'll see. They really define everything that's going on. We've also included art templates, just like Wayne was talking about, not being, all that creative until you get into something like this. We have lots and lots, hundreds of art templates that are great starting points. You apply a template, and then you can go in and edit it any way that you need it to be done. So they're already preloaded into the system. And we have them loaded in by subject. We have some that are product specific. We just have a wide range there, and they can be modified to fit pretty much any product. You can even create and save your own templates, and it's so easy. That's what you're going to see and say, wow, this is really easy, okay? And that really helps a lot, because I have great ideas, but I can't create. I'm not an artist, so it helps that somebody else sort of did a layout, and then I can improve upon it. I like working that way. The final aspects are Print and Color Manager, which is the link between the designer, which is online, and the printer, which is local and connected to a computer. And the Print and Color Manager is, just like it says, it's a color manager device for printing. And it has built-in color and ink specific profiles. So you already got your profiles in there tied into the SG400, SG800, and that Sublimation HD ink. And you should be aware that the CreativeStudio only works with the SG400, SG800 printers. It does not work with older model printers, and that's because of the technology involved. There's a different level of technology involved with those printers and that ink, and that's actually tied back into the designer aspect, and therefore those things all function together very well. They don't function and integrate with other printers. Okay, so we already have built-in color and ink specific profiles. We have what I call recipe settings that are very job specific to help you set things up the right way. We have hot folders and presets, if you understand what hot folders are. And you're really into production, we do have that capability with this as well. Also, multiple printers can tie into one designer. That's pretty cool too. So we got a lot going on with the Print and Color Manager. Final thing, I got a couple of quick images to show you, because I just want to emphasize one more time that CreativeStudio is an online system. Okay, the designer is online. Thus I have it listed up here in my cloud, and the printer is local. Okay, it's wherever your place of business is. Your images, your templates, and finished designs are all stored online. You cannot actually download any of those images to your local computer. It's all stored online. When you get ready to print, a proprietary file is created, and then it transfers down straight to your printer, and your printer accepts it, interprets it, and prints it out. Okay. One of the reasons that's happening is because of all those stock designs. All those stock designs are licensed and available for you to use. But based on the licensing, you can't have access to the electronic file, only to the printed file. So therefore, the electronic files stay online. A print file is sent, and it's a temporary print file. It's sent down, it prints out, it's gone, okay? And there's a copy of it saved online. So pretty much everything is saved online, okay? Each user has their own unique account online, so don't think that everybody's using the exact same window at the same time. We have this built onto multiple servers around the world, so it can accommodate a lot of people from a lot of different countries at the same time. But you actually have your own account online where all of your designs and everything are stored. Okay, it's unique to you. You have a login for it. And finally, again, nothing is stored on the local computer except the Print and Color Manager. So that's the only install you have, is the Print and Color Manager. Now, this question comes up a lot, so I just wanted to make it clear that if you bought the Virtuoso printer, okay, and that's what you need for CreativeStudio, it will work with CreativeStudio. It will also work with standard graphics programs like CorelDRAW, etc. CorelDRAW and the Adobe products do not interface with Creative Studio whatsoever, okay? Totally standalone, they work their own path. When you create something online in Creative Studio, you're doing it online, the proprietary file downloads to the Creative Studio Print and Color Manager and it shoots it over to the printer, okay? When you're working with graphic desktop programs, you create the program, you use PowerDriver 4 if you're a Windows user, and then it shoots it over to the printer. So the printer can work off of both. Trust me, it works because I do it all the time. If you're a Mac user, I do want to add that we did build this for Mac as well. We have officially released the Windows version of the Creative Studio Print and Color Manager. We have not officially released the Mac profile, though we have built one. We are still beta testing that one, and if anyone out there is interested in being a beta tester for the Mac setup for Creative Studio Print and Color Manager, please let me know. You'll see my email address in just a few minutes. But it's the same thing there. Create it online, send it to the Creative Studio Print and Color Manager, send it to the printer. Do desktop graphics, it goes to a Mac profile, not PowerDriver, to a Mac profile through a printer driver to the printer, okay? So just important to understand how that works. All right, if you want to jot down my email address in case you want to contact me later, we're not done, okay? That's just we're done with the PowerPoint, and that's my contact information. So again, if you have more questions about Creative Studio and you wish to contact me, please feel free to do so at that email address. Okay, with that said, I'm going to switch to an online mode. So give me 1 second while I switch over my screen. To get to Creative Studio, you have to buy a Virtuoso system. And Creative Studio, by the way, is free. There's no extra charge for it. And the Virtuoso printers cost the same as the Ricoh printers. So it's not like it's an upcharge on those printers to accommodate the software. The software is all part of the whole package deal. So once you buy a Virtuoso printer, you'll be given all these instructions, okay? The first step is you will install your Print and Color Manager and register it. And once you register it, your website login will be upgraded so that you can go into Creative Studio. And you just get into Creative Studio through the Sawgrass website, which I'll just show you that real quick. Let's go back to the website. We'll go out of Creative Studio for 1 minute. I apologize, my connection's a little slow here, simply because I have so much going through this local server here. So again, you can only get into Creative Studio if you have access granted to you. You can see and read about Creative Studio online, you just won't get all the way in there. But it's on the Sawgrass website, is how we enter in, and we can click on Access Creative Studio. And it's normally, like I said, runs a lot faster. When you have to run a webinar and you're running this at the same time, they're both web-based systems, it can slow you down. So keep that in mind. Also, your internet speed will have a lot to do with it too. Okay, now we're going to launch Creative Studio. So as soon as we launch it, what happens is we go into Creative Studio. Now I told you it's product-centric. So as soon as we go in, what happens is it's asking you what product do you want to make, okay? So the product wizard comes on and we have all kinds of categories and we have real products loaded in here. These are not like just random samples. We went and got real products. For example, you can see the Chromolux photo panels and we have all the awards and plaques that Unisub has and bag tags and just a lot of different things. I'm going to start with garments. I'm a garment guy. I'm going to start actually with a garment and then I'm going to click next and it's going to show me my choices. Here's another drop down. And right now we have Vapor products and we have several already preloaded. Keep in mind we've just released this product and we have one person working full time on putting new product templates in, art templates in, more stock designs. All these kind of things are being developed as we go. So these lists will expand as we go. Just for my quick demo, I'm going to go with the short sleeve Vapor. So I'm going to click on that, click next. And see, these are the colors that it's available in. And these are the ones that Vapor says are sublimation friendly. I'm going to stick with white because it's just easier to see everything online when I'm doing a demo. So white's already selected there. We'll click next. And then we have to tell what paper size we're going to be printing on. I have an SG400. I don't have a bypass tray, so I'm going to set it up for 11 by 17. Now this is critical. You always need to choose the paper size you plan to print with because it makes some defining characteristics within our work area. Okay, you can see that the image of the shirt has appeared. You see there's a box here. This is our work box, our design area. It's based on the size paper I chose. If I chose a bigger paper, it's going to be a bigger box. If I chose a smaller paper, it's a smaller box. Anything on the inside of the box is visible. Anything goes on the outside, it gets cut off. So it makes sure that you can't make something bigger than you can print. That's very important, okay? So that represents the size of the paper you see. That's our work area. You can see we got tools across here, all pretty straightforward and simple, and I'm not going to explain every one. I'm just going to do some things, and you'll see me do them, and you'll see kind of how it works. Okay, we got our product in place. I like to start with an art template. I think it's just the easiest way to go. So I'm going to click on templates, and you'll see that we have categories, and I'm going to go to mascots. So I go to mascots, and you see we got all kinds of really cool mascot designs that have already been created and that you can use and edit, okay? There's a lot of good things going on. I'm going to go with the wolves. Now, think about this. You could actually work with a customer. You could sit in front of a customer and start working with them. So, you know, if I was working with a football coach right now, maybe he's helping me design his product. That's a little scary, right? But, you know, he chooses something and then, you know, wants to see if I can modify it. So this has come into that workspace. I will tell you that the way that the shirt template is set up, you'll see that the image is slightly larger. The shirt template actually represents the printable area of that sheet of 11 by 17. The paper is a little bit larger. You want to make sure that whatever you're working with fits inside this boundary. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce this just a little bit. Now, this design is made up of multiple pieces. I want to resize the whole thing as one unit. So I'm going to click Select All. And it's going to select and group all the pieces together. And then I can reduce it. Easiest way is just click and drag from the corner, make it smaller, and then click and drag and move it around. See, there's lots of click and drag in this program. We also have little tools over here if you prefer those kind of tools. Anything you select, actually if I do a select all again, you can use the tools to move it up and down. So you see I'm clicking on these arrows on the right, and we can move things around. We can use it to rotate. We can use this up here to rotate. We can use these arrow keys over here to make it larger, make it smaller. So it depends. Some people like to click and drag. Some people like to push things, okay, whatever. All right, so I've got this involved. And so, you know, my coach is sitting there saying, hey, I really like this layout, but you know what? We're the tigers, not the wolves. Can you change that to be the tigers? Sure. I'm going to click on the letters to select them. And you can see over here on the right-hand side it says wolves. I've selected the text. I'm going to type tigers. And what it does is it keeps all the characteristics, but changes the lettering. So it's still the same font, and its size is based on how many letters are in it, okay? So then he says, listen, our school colors, we don't have gray, you know, our colors are like black and orange. Can you change that gray in the background to orange? So, okay, let's see. I'm going to click on it, and what I was able to do is click on this shield, and you can see over here object colors. The shield is composed of gray, white, and black. So I want to change to gray, and I'm going to do that by clicking on the gray. Now it brings up a color chart. This is the ColorSure colors, the basic ColorSure colors for this ink and printer combination. So these are very specific sublimation friendly colors. In fact, all the designs were built using these colors in this palette. So you could go and just choose any color you want from the palette. If you don't see the exact color you want, you have a matrix over here, and by moving around your mouse, you can actually create different shades of colors, and then you can choose that. Or if you know the RGB code, you can type it in there and choose that. Well, orange is the color we need. This looks pretty close. We're going to choose it. You can see the change has been made. Now, of course, it's got a wolf's head, not a tiger's head, so can I change that? Yep. See, that's the nice thing about art templates. We can change so much stuff. So I've clicked on the wolf to select it. Look over here. It says mascot, replace. I'm going to replace. And I'm going to go to our stock images. Now, see, we have lots of stock designs. Look at all these different categories. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there, but we're not going to go through it all. But we're working with mascots. We're going to put a tiger in there. A tiger falls under feline. I'm going to get all my tigers, and well, there's lots, not just tigers, there's cougars and lions. Down here at the bottom, we see our tigers. We're going to go with Tiger Logo 1. And there it is, okay? Now he's looking at it and saying, you know what, I changed my mind. I don't want orange in the background. Our other color is purple. I think it'll look better purple. Can you do that? Yes. See, that's the danger of sitting with somebody. So now we're going to go back, instead of making that orange, we're going to make it purple. Hey, you know what? That looks better. So see, we can design as we go. We can make changes and adjustments. Now the tiger itself looks like it's off center, and there's a reason it looks off center. It's not really, but there's some elements of the tiger that are actually black, and you can't see them because of the black background. So if I just take the tiger and select it and move it, you can see there are some pieces. Oh, by the way, see how everything gets cut off when it goes outside the box? That's important because it's reminding you made it too big. Now, if I position this guy in the middle, those black areas stick out over the shield, so I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller and make them fit. And there we go. He fits a whole lot better now. Okay, now we're looking at it, and Coach says, hey, can you get rid of that box and just stick with tigers? Let's find out. I can click on it. Yep, there it is. I go to Object, Delete, and it's gone. But now I can't read tigers. Okay, so we do a little designing. So I'm going to click on tigers and change the color. This one will make orange to match the tiger there. That works, but it's a little hard to read. So one of our old-fashioned tricks in the world of graphics is put an outline around it and make it jump out. So I'm going to go to Object, go down to Text Outline, and I'm going to choose a 6. I'm going to use black, and I'm going to use behind the fill, so it kind of tucks in behind the letters a little bit. And there you go. A lot easier to read it now. Okay, the next question I get is, can you put the name of the school, which is Brighton High School? Sure, and he wants it on top, of course. So I'm going to create text from scratch. So you can create text from scratch anytime you want. So I'm going to click on text, and it defaults to the words sample text. I'm going to change that to Brighton, which is the name of the high school, and click OK. And then I'm going to slide it up here so we can actually see it. It obviously is not in the same font as down below. In fact, it would probably look better if we did it all capitals to better match what's down below. So I'm just going to do that. So I made a quick change, say OK. And now look, it's too big. See, it's cut off. So I'm just going to shrink it down a little bit, slide it back into here. And now I'm going to go look for and see if I can match that font. So let's go to Object. Let's go down to Text Fonts. And we've included all kinds of fonts in here. And we have different categories and multiple fonts in every category. I'm going to go to the very top one here because to me it looks pretty much the same. It made it larger so it still doesn't fit, so we're going to make it just a little bit smaller. There we go. Now it works. All right, we need to make that orange, so we're going to click on the text color and we're going to change it to orange. You see how quick and easy this can go when you know what you're doing, right? So we're going to put another outline there. We're going to go 6 behind the fill, black, okay. There it is. And now finally he wants to arc it, so we can do that too. Let's go to text envelope. And envelopes allow us to kind of shape how the text is. I'm going to use an arch, and I'm going to add some angle to it, a little bit more, and click OK. And it looks that way, and maybe I'm going to slide it down and put it here. So we have that all set up. Can we preview it? Yeah, actually that's a little off center, isn't it? Let's slide it over just a little bit. There we go. We can preview that, so I'm going to go to Zoom and click Preview, and that shows what it looks like on the shirt, you know, without all the guidelines. If we're good with that, then we're ready to print it. So the way we're going to print it is we're going to click Save. We're going to give it a name. We'll call it Tigers. We can set a quantity here, or we can do that later. We can save it as a new template if we want, our own art template. I'm not actually going to save it. Yeah, I might. Why not? Click OK. Now it's going to process it, and at this point it's going to process it and it's going to save it in a folder where your print files go. So if you were working away from a printer and you don't have the ability to connect to your printer, you're fine. You just saved what you did. Maybe you're working on a tablet where you don't have the capability to load a printer driver. Fine. You saved it and you can access it later. If you're going to print, if you hook to the printer, you can click here to print, or you can print later. I'm going to click here to print. And when I click here to print, it's going to automatically create a file in a specialized format, which is called SG. And it's going to activate my print and color manager, which pops up a window like this on the screen. And within my print and color manager, I have to make a few choices. I have some different speeds for printing. It's for a shirt, so I mean, you know, high quality may not even apply, so I'm going to go with high speed. I'm going to choose polyester fabric since it's a shirt. I use text print R, so I'm going to use that. And I need to choose the right size paper, which is 11 by 17. I can set the number of copies here if I need to, and mirror, it always defaults to mirror. So this is very important. When you're printing, you do need to set the settings up right because it affects your color management. Okay, different types of paper can affect your color. So you always want to select the paper you're using, very important. We also have the capability to make some color adjustments. This is a graphic, so I would choose graphic if it's not already. If it's photographic, you can select that. We can tweak the color. Watch the design on the right when I move the color bars here. You can see slight changes on that one. This one would probably be more predominant. Yep. So, you know, I'm really making this bold, exaggerated changes so you can kind of see what's going on. But you're able to go in and change things to affect the colorization if you need to tweak it that way. Most people kind of just go with what they got, but we do have that there. You're happy with that, you click print, and away you go. You can't see it print, so I'm not going to print it. Okay, I'm just going to delete it. But there you go, we're done. We did our t-shirt and we're done. Okay, and I showed you a lot of the functions as we went. So let's switch gears and do something different than a t-shirt. I'm going to clear this out. So if you hit clear, it takes out all the art capability aspects. To get rid of the product, just choose a new one. So I'm going to choose product, and this time I'm going to do an award product. And so I'm going to go find an award plaque. And you can see we've loaded in a whole lot of the Unisub plaques, okay? A whole lot of them. And I'm going to use, so let's see, I kind of like this one here, the 8x10. I'm going to go with it. And I want to do it vertically. So you can do it horizontally or vertically. I'm going to do it vertically. And then you choose a paper. In this case, I'm going to use letter size paper for the vertical setup. And I'm going to select that, and it's going to bring that on the screen. Now you see here it has the actual border on it, you know, because it's like a wooden border with, this is the printable area, and it comes in two different colors. I'm going to change it to this one because it'll make it a little bit easier to see what we're doing. So now I've got the plaque in place, and I'm going to start with a template again. And this time I'm going to go with, let's see, actually I might do the mascots again, but we're going to do it different. Nope, that's not where I want to work from. I'm going to go from, because I want to do something that's full bleed. And I know these will be full bleed. There we go. I'm going to go work in here, and I'm going to use this one. So, you know, it came and it fit, you know, pretty well. It's a little hard to see. This has a bleed line. So look closely on your screen, and you'll see there is a border all the way around the black area. That's sort of a grayish black. That's our bleed. So watch what happens. I'm going to select all. See, bleeds are something we use on non-apparel. We don't really use a bleed on apparel. You see, if I go outside the boundaries, it cuts it off, okay? The easiest way to see the bleed is look over here at the blue, okay? See how it's a grayish blue on the side? That's the bleed. We want to extend the background of our image all the way into that bleed and through the bleed. But anything that's important to have on the final product needs not to cross into the bleed. So if you look over here where the white area here is, anything that's white is the true printable area of the product. See the little black border right here? That is the bleed. So we make the image slightly larger than the printable area because that gives us, once we print on the paper and we lay the plaque on it, we can actually see the edges of the artwork, helps us to line it up. So bleeds are very important. Okay, so I want to make sure that this guy fully goes into all the bleed all the way around, and I'm just going to extend him out just a little bit more to make sure he is, and he is. Okay, so this obviously is not Lorem Ipsum High School, so let's change it. Remember, it's a template. We can change it. So I'm going to take Lorem Ipsum, and I'm going to change it to a local high school here, which is called, oops, Windows 8, hit the wrong thing, called Laney, and we'll go, okay. So we made it Laney High School. This isn't a football team, it's a soccer team. Can I change the football? I'm going to click on the ball. I see it's highlighted over here. I'm going to click replace, and it's going to give me my image categories. I'm going to go down to a soccer ball. So we're going to look for sports and football, soccer. Then we have some graphic images and we have some photo images. I'm going to use the photo soccer ball. Now watch out, I'm going to be a little creative here. I don't want to scare anybody. I'm going to take this soccer ball and I'm actually going to stick it down here in the corner like it's coming up out of the corner, okay? It's kind of cool, and it's a little different, okay? So yeah, I was a little bit of creativity there. You can see that bleed zone. and we want to make the ball go into the bleed zone. State tournament champions, it turns out they were the district champions. Can I change that? Easily. I'm going to select it, go over here, and change state to district tournament champions, and click my OK. Now they say, hey, can you put our mascot in here? I'm like, where? Okay, sure. We don't want to say no, right? So I'm just going to choose an image, this time a pure image, and go and apply it. So I clicked on image, and their mascot happens to be a buccaneer or a pirate. So let's go down to sports and look for, I'm looking. It wouldn't be under sports, it would be under mascots. Okay, that seemed to be the same to me. Mascots, people, okay? So there you see all these different people-oriented mascots, and I'm going to go down and find, here's a pirate head. I will tell you, it's not their exact one, but it's not too far. So I'm going to select it, and boom, it's way too big. Okay, but when it comes in, it's already pre-selected. You can see that. So I'm just going to reduce. I'm just going to use the reduce key over here. Click it a couple of times, bring this dude down, and I'm going to slide him up here. Well, it actually kind of looks a little unbalanced. Everything's too heavy on the left side. I need to move the lettering over. Now, I could select the lettering. It's two separate lines, one at a time. But actually, if you hold the shift key when you select, you can group things together temporarily and move it as one group. So we'll move it over here, and then maybe we'll move this guy in a little closer and kind of tie them all in there. So, you know, I'm making people happy, okay, which means I'm going to make money. That's the key. So, you know, I got everything in there. If that's what they want, great. If they want to add something in somewhere else, we can do that, whatever. I mean, it's easy. You know, that's the whole key thing there. Okay, so let's do something different. I'm going to clear this one out. And I'm going to go to a totally different product. This time I'm going to do a 3-letter monogram on a cell phone cover. So we're going to go to mobile device cases. You have to know the right terminology, right? And we have a lot in there. We don't have every one, but we've got a whole bunch of them. So I'm going to use maybe this iPhone case. And I'm going to choose my paper. And you have a couple different choices because you could use mug paper, or some people have phone cover paper, or letter vertical. I'll use letter vertical. So we bring that onto the screen. It looks like it's only available, well, look, it's available on pink too. Cool. All right, so we're going to go to templates now. And under templates, we're going to find monogram. Now this is actually more of a function than just a template. And we have a diamond, we have an oval, and we have one that's actually a round, okay? I'm going to go with the oval. And when the oval comes in, we can delete that part out. When the oval comes in, it's 3 letters. And if you know anything about monogramming, when you put a 3-letter monogram on something, it's listed this way. First initial on the left, middle initial on the right, last initial in the center. But it's very easy to get that mixed up when you're taking the order, okay? So we try to make it simple by having you list the initials in the right order over here, and it does a transposing for you. So I'm going to use my initials. J is the first initial. Click OK. You can see it appeared on the left side. My middle initial is M, and I click OK, and you see it appears on the right side, as it should. And my last initial is L, and it should appear in the middle. I click OK, and it does. There we go. Do you want to change the colors of that? I mean, it is a pink phone, so maybe you want to have some pink letters, and we can certainly do that. You know, pink is not really, it's not really my favorite color. You know, one of my, I would just be real colorful here. I'm demonstrating. Here we go. Something a little different and creative, right? You know, you can change these borders here. You can see the border I've selected. You see over here, border, replace, and we do have some other borders. When you go in and look at monogram borders, just make sure that you're picking the right orientation of border. Remember, I'm working with an oval, so you don't want to pick any of these up here. You need to pick something that's oval related. This is the one that's existing right now. Maybe we want to go to something like this. And, you know, you can change, see the colors, white and black. You can change the background color, and you can change, you know, the border color itself. Maybe we do something really hideous, like throw in a little bit of green around there. Hey, that's really interesting, right? Okay, but it looks a little lost in here. I mean, it's all this white background. Keyword background. Can we put something in there? Well, see, it says background. Let's click on replace. And that's going to take us to my images, and we can go down. We can see backgrounds. We have some photo textures, some recolorable patterns. We have some bitmaps. Let's look at recolorable patterns first. Maybe there's something in there that will work for this. There's a lot of them in there. Hey, you know what, since we're already making something that's really bizarre, oh, I don't know, we'll just go with this. We did this little pink shell background thing. Takes just a minute. It's kind of a big file. Not very pretty, I know, but the thing is we need to enlarge it so it fills that whole area in, so I'm just going to use the enlarge key. We're almost there, but you can imagine what's going to happen is we're going to fill this all the way up through our bleed lines. And, you know, even though those colors are pretty hideous, and you're probably going to want to change some, and you can, okay, that's the beauty of it. We can go change the shell pattern here, as I'm going to show you. Let's change that one maybe to the purple. So maybe we'll do the hot pink in there too. Give it just a minute and see how the change goes. There we go. So, you know, we can slowly work our colors here in our background to kind of match what we have. So you get the picture. That's the whole idea, is to show you the picture of what we got going on. Okay. Okay. I want to show you one other thing real quick, and then we'll kind of wrap it up and take any questions that you have. So we're going to clear out of this one, and we're going to choose a new product. And this time I'm going to actually do a coffee mug. So we'll do our drop down here. We'll go down to mugs. Here we go. And the mugs kind of lay out really interesting because the fact is round, and you really can't show the round when you're working on it. So I'm going to use this particular one here and choose my paper. I'm going to use letter horizontal paper. You can use mug paper, so we got it in there. That's the cool part. And we're going to bring the mug in. So when you're setting up your artwork, it sets up like this, but it's reminding you that it's a rounded type of thing here. Okay. So I'm going to go to my templates. I'm going to make a photo GIF this time. And so we're going to take those and go to photo GIFs, maybe home and family. And let's see what we got there. And with this one, let me scroll down and find what I'm going to work with. This one here for mom. Now, this is going to illustrate something very specific, because sometimes you get into it and you say, hey, wait a minute, this does not fit. What am I going to do? Now, you could do the select all. And if you do the select all, to enlarge it, you see you start losing a whole lot of important pieces of the actual design. A better way to do that is just click the background if you can grab the background, which I just did. All we got to do, see, all the other pieces don't move. Only the background is moving. So I'm using the background to do a complete fill into my bleed. Now, all these little elements move. So I can move them, resize them just a little bit to make them work. Maybe we'll make mom a little bit larger. The lettering you can barely read, so I'm going to select both lines of lettering and enlarge them as one unit. And move that down here. And then finally, this is an area we can actually put a photograph. It's got a frame, and then it has the background for the photo. And then maybe we'll move this guy over here. So click here if you have a photo. You can replace that. And let me see if I have any photos in here. I may not. So we're gonna do something creative here, because I don't have any photos. See, really, if you're working with somebody, you would probably at this point upload, because you can upload. I don't have any photographs to upload, but you see my mouse up here on upload. If you click on upload, it allows you to go find a file and upload it. I just don't have any pictures on this particular one. I just have graphics on this particular unit. So I'm just going to find what's in here, and this could be interesting, okay? Because I know which one I'm getting. I know what's in here. So there's not a lot of true photos of people in here right this minute. So we're going to go down to photographs, and we're going to go to photos. Yep, let's go to photographs. And it turns out mom surfs. So we're gonna put mom over here. You know, I totally did that wrong. I was not focused on this correctly. Hang on one second, okay? I'm gonna delete what I just put in there. Okay, I want to come over here to where it says photo, because I want the photo to appear in that little photo box. So I'm gonna go to the photo box, click replace, and there I'm gonna go choose the right photograph. So here we go. Photographs. There, mom's a surfer. and it's going to bring it and put it in there. See, so I wanted you to see how it appeared in the frame because we did it in the photo frame. Hey, it's small enough you can't tell it's a guy. Okay, so anyway, so there I've got that set up, and that product's ready to go to the printer. So that's kind of in a nutshell how Creative Studio works. If you do purchase the system and you do want to use Creative Studio, we have a full line of tutorial videos where you just do some of what I just did, and you watch the video and do it yourself and learn. I mean, it's really easy to learn because it's not too crazy. This is also revision 1 per se. It's the first edition out. We will continue to make updates and upgrades to the system and add more features and functions as we go. We do not want this to be something that competes with CorelDRAW or Photoshop, so we're never going there. What we're trying to do is make it easy for you to set up jobs and run them. That's our goal. So if you start having requests of all these other functions that you have in one of those other programs, we'd probably tell you to use one of those other programs. But we do listen to everyone who's using it so far, and we listen to their requests, and we make updates, and we help people find sometimes a workaround if it doesn't look like there's an obvious way to do it. We find ways to help you figure out how to do it, so for lack of a better way to put it. Okay, so I see we got a couple of questions here, and Wayne, if you want to jump in for a minute and add in anything that you wish, I'll take a look at our questions.
Okay. I can tell you that one of the things that we encounter with people who are new to sublimation but want to get into business and use the process is that they are not artistically inclined, and in a lot of cases they don't have a current version of CorelDRAW or Photoshop. They're working off their cell phones or what have you, and I can see that the features here will go a long way toward giving those of you who are not inclined to do art to really create a nice looking product that has really good appeal with a minimum amount of effort. And it's quite exciting to see this, and that it's integrated together with the printer, because that takes one more problem out of there, and that is, well, I'm having trouble printing to the printer, or there's something wrong with the driver, or what have you. So I think the fact that it's all integrated together is a real plus for personalization with sublimation.
And that definitely was one of our keys. I mean, we were really just trying to make things easier, especially for somebody starting up. But we definitely aren't trying to replace any of the desktop graphics programs either. Okay, couple of questions. Number one, can Creative Studio be used the Ricoh GX7000 sublimation equipment? No. The Creative Studio, because of the technology involved with the print and color manager system, the Creative Studio only works with the SG400 and SG800 Virtuoso printers. We built those in conjunction with Ricoh from the ground up for sublimation printing, and we put everything together so that the technology is compatible. The technology, this is not is backwards compatible with the GX7000 from Ricoh, or the 7100 or the 3130. So nothing wrong with those printers. They have not been discontinued by us. We still support them. We still have inks for them. So you're fine with that printer, but if you wanted to use this, you would have to move into one of the SG printer models. What if there's a font you have in mind, but it's not available in the preset fonts? Understandable. You cannot upload your fonts at this time. And first of all, when you upload a font, it has to be able to be keyboard driven. So there's a lot that goes into uploading a font into a standalone program. Okay, so it's not just a simple thing of getting that thing uploaded. It's much easier to upload an image than a font. Then we always have to be careful about copyright issues, because if you uploaded it into your system and it was housed there, but you didn't really have the copyright or the license to use it, then being stored on our server, it's actually a copyright violation for us. Will we expand the fonts? Yes. Now, a way around it is we've had people that need to use a specific font, and they would actually set the text up on a different program the way they need it and then save the text as like a JPEG file. Then they would upload the JPEG and then they can stretch it and place it or whatever they got to do, reduce it down to make it fit. So they would create, that specific font separately and upload it as just like an image. I know a couple extra steps, but you can do it that way.
So that would give you the ability to do a logotype of your company or of one of your customers.
Right. Yep. You're just going to bring it in as an image. So there are a lot of fonts, but there's not every font out there. Okay. I mean, there's just let's go over into here. You said we got categories, and each category has different fonts within it, but there's not every font in the world. Sorry.
There's probably plenty.
There's a lot, but I understand if you have to do specific fonts to match a customer's request, that happens. Just create the fonts elsewhere and upload it as needed. I want to get rid of that real quick. Okay, got another question. What types of files can you upload? Currently, you can only upload a JPEG or a PNG. Now, there's a lot of difference between a JPEG and a PNG. A PNG, if you create an image where there's no background to it or it's transparent background, you can save the transparency in a PNG. So it might have been created to say a TIFF, it might have been created as a vector file. If you have a transparent background, then you can save it as a PNG, upload it, and you'll maintain the transparency. If you create it, convert it to a JPEG and upload it, the JPEG doesn't have transparency. Not a big deal in most cases. About the only time that's really a big deal is if you're talking about apparel, okay? Because of an apparel, you would have this big white square back behind the image if you did it as a JPEG. You cannot upload vectors at this time. Will that be a future edition? Probably so. It is worth mentioning the majority of the stock images in the system do happen to be vector, but for you to upload vector currently, that's unavailable. So just JPEG and PNG. Does CreativeStudio work offline as well? No, it only works online. It is based online. There is no offline version. To have an offline version, you would have to have it onto your system, and there isn't. It isn't software per se that can be put into your system. I mean, the way it's built, it doesn't work as a standalone program. Okay, we have someone who has a Ricoh 3300 and they're going to add an SG system. When you add the SG system, the CreativeStudio is included at no charge. There is no charge for CreativeStudio. In fact, there was an ugly rumor going around that there was a subscription fee. No, there isn't. Okay, there is no charge for it. It is strictly online. It will always be online. One of the nice things about being online is that we can make technical changes to it anytime we want, and you don't have to reload anything. So there is no charge for it. It is not backwards compatible. So if you're still using your GXE 3300, the designs that you create in CreativeStudio, you cannot send to the 3300. You can only send them to the new SG printer. Now, the other direction, if you create a design, say in CorelDRAW for your 3300, you can also upload it to CreativeStudio and then print out to your through your print color manager. But by the same token, if you have PowerDriver 4 on your new SG printer, you can go straight from CorelDRAW to it. So anyway, that's how that works. Additional questions? Well, Wayne, I appreciate the opportunity to come out and talk about CreativeStudio. This is something I spend, I don't know, 24 hours a day with lately. But I'm really excited about the program. And I don't just say that because I work for Sawgrass. I'm really excited about the program. I mean, I've been involved as a product decorator for many, many years. And this is just really simplifies things. It doesn't do everything that you need to do. But with most jobs, it makes it easy for you to set it up and get it printing as fast as you can go. So It is a great tool, and I'm very impressed with the capabilities and just very excited to work with it.
Well, Jimmy, I'd like to thank you for coming today and spending time to show us Creative Studio. I personally think it's a real step forward because it gives you, or the individual decorator, the ability to create a product without a lot of overhead, having to own a bunch of different programs. And from the looks of what I've seen so far, it's a very professional output. And I don't think it's anything that that people should be embarrassed about. I think it's something that takes you just one step further and faster, because the faster you're able to create the product, print it, get it on the printable, and get it in the customer's hands, the faster you're going to profit from it. So I think it's a good move.
Yep, and I think we've gotten a lot of good positive feedback on it, and I think that it's really going to make a difference in the industry going forward.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I think that wraps it up for today, and I appreciate as always being here and having the opportunity to chat, and look forward to doing more webinars in the future.
Okay, take care.
We'll see you. Bye.
Mm-hmm.